Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here with another extravagant few minutes live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube, where we invite you to subscribe to get all of our great content live and archived, including our extravagant few minutes episodes. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but we're back after vacation and we're going to get you rolling into football season. And of course, the stretch drive in Major League Baseball. And of course, all of our live content, all of our Captain Lou extravaganza and extravaganzas with Captain Lou and Mitch. That's on the Captain Lou Sports Network when you subscribe to that on YouTube. And of course, you can follow us live on the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Real Captain Lou. And this reminder as well, this show, all of our extravagant few minutes are brought to you by SeatGeek, the official secondary market of the Captain Lou Sports Network. Use the promo code Captain Lou and you'll get $20 off your next purchase. It's that simple. It's free money. So if there's a ball game you want to go to, make sure you go to SeatGeek. It's safe. And while you're there, you can use the promo code Captain Lou for $20 off your next purchase. The official secondary market of the Captain Lou Sports Network. That, of course, is SeatGeek. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy weekend. July the 25th, 2025. 6 days left before the trade deadline in Major League Baseball. If you're a Tigers fan, are you pushing the panic button just yet? Losing 10 out of the last 11, the Tigers at one time with a 14.5 game lead in the American League Central, now down to 8. They lost again last night, 11-4 to the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto now with the best record in all of the American League. Looking pretty good. The Tigers scuffling. Reese Olson got dinged up in the 5th inning. He gave up 5 runs. The bullpen still a very big question mark for the Tigers, other than maybe Will Vest. Is there anybody you can trust in the Tigers bullpen? They picked up Carlos Hernandez from the Phillies. They've already DFA'd him. Lots going on in Motown right now. I'm not ready to push the panic button just yet. I look at some of the other teams right now in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers are scuffling. I think they're 3 out of their last 10. The Yankees scuffling. So it's not quite panic time just yet, but the Tigers are going to have to do something. Kerry Carpenter will be coming back next week from his injury. That's going to help Detroit. I don't know what the love affair is now with Parker Meadows and Matt Bierling. They're not doing anything for the Tigers. And, you know, is Baez, is he going back to being the Baez of old, swinging at everything 3 to 4 feet out of the strike zone? I know he got hot at the beginning of the year. We all loved him. Yours truly, I admit it. But is he going back to his old ways? Great fielder, but not reliable as a hitter. We'll have to wait and see. Now, as far as the trade deadline goes for the Tigers, I know their number one need is probably a stick at third base. Eugenio Suarez is the golden goose right now. He's the guy everybody covets, but it's going to take a lot to get him. I'm not willing to part with McConaughey or Max Clark down in Double-A right now for the Tigers. I think they're going to be everyday players for the Tigers. They're our future, but Detroit needs a starter, and they need a third baseman, and obviously they need a reliever as well with that shaky bullpen. Still a lot of time left. Not ready to push the panic button on the Tigers just yet, but boy, they got to do something. One to keep an eye on, and I don't know if they'll be able to pull this off because I don't know if the White Sox would make a trade in their own division, but Adrian Hauser, starting pitcher for the White Sox, in his last 10 starts, a 1.89 earned run average. I think that's a pretty good stint for the Tigers. Maybe they can try to make a play for him, but again, I don't know if the White Sox would go after that, would trade him in division, especially to the Detroit Tigers. Now, there's been some trade deadline news around Major League Baseball already. The Yankees today traded for Rockies third baseman Ryan McMahon. Good trade for the Yankees. They trade him a couple of minor league prospects. So maybe they're out of the Eugenio Suarez sweepstakes from the Arizona Diamondbacks. I know the Mets traded today for Gregory Soto, a reliever. He got him from the Orioles for a couple of minor leaguers. I don't know if that's such a great trade for the Mets. Just talked to one of my friends who's a big Orioles fan, Dave Kurtz, and he says that Soto's a dumpster fire, so maybe not a good trade for the Mets. Maybe Detroit didn't want him. The Mariners yesterday got Josh Naylor from the D-backs. Of course, he played with the Guardians last year. That could be a good pickup for the Mariners. And one to keep an eye on, too, in the race for Eugenio Suarez. the third baseman. Watch for the Houston Astros potentially to go after him, because Isaac Paredes, he's going to be out for a significant amount of time, the starting third baseman for the Astros. So some trade deadline news already getting started. The trade deadline is 4 o'clock, I believe, on the 31st. That's next Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern time. So when it breaks, we'll break in with some extravagant few minutes episodes. The Tigers hopefully will be hot and heavy at the trade deadline. I know Suarez would be their number one pick maybe, but again, are they willing to give up the prospects? The rumor mill going around in Detroit is they're not going to be too active at the trade deadline, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Let's flip it over to Pigskin. The Lions, full pads in practice today. First full pad practice. They are 6 days away from the Hall of Fame game coming up next Thursday night in Canton, Ohio against the LA Chargers. But you'd never know in Detroit that it was full pads just starting today. They've had some physicality in their practices all week. They've had players kicked out of practice. They've had to shorten their practice because of the scuffles. I don't know if they're chomping the bit to get to that first game, the opening game against Green Bay and Lambeau. But I got to tell you, it's an exciting time of the year for the Lions as they look to bounce back after that disappointing playoff loss to the Washington Commanders. But just think about it for a second. Disappointing playoff loss. For all the years us Lion fans have had to wait year after year after year to get to the playoffs, it's kind of nice to see the Lions still with the expectations to go to the Super Bowl. I know it sounds crazy, but let's see what they can do. They're starting to get some players back into practice. I know it's early. Not a whole lot you can take out of training camp the first few days, so we'll keep an eye on it as well. As we mentioned, the Hall of Fame game for the Lions is 6 days from today, next Thursday, and now we'll be all over that, of course, right here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. And it's funny, you know, I listen to some of the talk shows and you read the articles, and everybody's all gaga because Jackson Dart and Aaron Rodgers throwing interceptions on their first passes in training camp, pick sixes. The funny one is, but I kind of look at some of the media here in the Detroit area, their obsession with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. You know, I guess that they're not exactly on the same page right now. Who cares? It's training camp. That's why they've got training camp. So let's just focus on the Lions, right? The Lions looking to win the division for the third straight year. We're going to take a look at today in sports history. And of course, we're going to take a look at today's birthdays. But yesterday, in the pro wrestling world, we lost an icon in Hulk Hogan. He passed away at the age of 71 of a cardiac arrest. Whether you're into pro wrestling or not, if you're in it like I was, you know that the Hulkster, he brought pro wrestling front and center in the 80s. Hulk Hogan was to pro wrestling like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were to the NBA about the same time frame in the early 80s. Both those two examples brought their respective leagues, the WWF and, of course, Magic and Larry, the NBA, into prime time and got them started on their massive popularity with the mainstream public. And Hulk Hogan, whether you like him or not, I know he's made some kind of crazy statements, his political stance, whatever you want to make of it, he definitely was pro wrestling in the 80s and the 90s with his heel turn in 96, one of the biggest ones ever. If you're a pro wrestling fan, if you're a pro wrestler, you owe a lot to Hulk Hogan, bringing pro wrestling to where it was and where it is today. And so rest in peace, brother, Hulk Hogan. You'll be in the hearts of all wrestling fans for a long time, passed away at the age of 71. All right, we're going to take a look at today in sports history and today's birthdays. But first, a reminder that today's broadcast of An Extravagant Few Minutes and all of our shows are brought to you by the official secondary market of the Captain Lou Sports Network, and that is SeatGeek. If there's a Lions game you want to go to, any kind of ball game, pro game, college game, the college game starting up in about a month, Tigers, any major league, minor league team, go to SeatGeek, use the promo code Captain Lou. You get $20 off your next purchase. It's that simple. So again, the official secondary market of the Captain Lou Sports Network, very safe to use. That's SeatGeek. Use the promo code Captain Lou for $20 off your next purchase. That's SeatGeek. Once again, the official secondary market of the Captain Lou Sports Network. All right, let's take an extravagant look at today in sports history. Back in 1978, Pete Rose set the consecutive hit streak for the National League with his 38th consecutive game with a base hit, of course. He got it up to 44 in 1978. And Joe DiMaggio, he's got the all-time record, of course, at 56 games that he set in the 1950s. In 1997, Brett Favre re-signed with the Green Bay Packers on this date, 7 years, $50 million. Now they get $50 million at least in a single year. In 2007, Showtime, Patrick Kane signed his first pro contract, a 3-year deal with the Chicago Blackhawks, in the start of leading them to 3 Stanley Cups in the 2010s. And finally, in 1941, Lefty Grove won his 300th and final game, leading the Boston Red Sox to a 10-6 win over the Cleveland Indians. Today's birthdays: Bryce Young, starting quarterback, former number 1 overall pick of the Carolina Panthers. He is 24. Torey Lovullo, Major League Manager, is 60. Tony Granato, ex-NHLer, is 61. And Doug Drabeck is 63. And born today on this date in 1935, legendary college and pro football coach John Robinson, of course, USC and the Los Angeles Rams. 1941, born on this date, Nate Thurman. And in 1954, one of the best, if not the best running backs that I've ever seen in my lifetime. He's right up there with Barry Sanders. Sweetness, Walter Payton, was born on this date in 1954. All right, that's going to do it for today's birthdays and, of course, a look at today in sports history. And that's going to do it for another edition of an extravagant few minutes live right here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube and, of course, on our Facebook page, the Captain Lou Extravaganza, and on Twitter, on X, at The Real Captain Lou. I want to thank everybody for welcoming us into your homes, on your computers, on your iPhones, however you watched us around the world here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. We're back after vacation. We're going to be here about 3 to 4 times a week with our extravagant few minutes, more if it dictates with late breaking news. It's great to be back. We're refreshed. We're recharged. It's getting to be football season. Of course, stretch run for Major League Baseball, everything else going on in the world of sports. And of course, coming up on the network in September, the 10th year of the ACHA Power Play. That's going to be bigger and better than ever. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And look at me on my Facebook page too tomorrow for day 22 of the Captain Lou 60-60 Challenge. All right, Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open.